The Galactic Council's warship emerged from hyperspace above Earth like a dark omen, its hull gleaming with the arrogance of 1,000 conquered worlds. Ambassador Zarketh stood on the bridge, his crystalline eyes surveying the blue planet with contempt. In his 2 centuries of service, he had subjugated 47 species. Humanity would be the 48th. Primitive, he muttered, watching their crude satellites drift through the void. They haven't even achieved faster-than-light travel. David Chen stood in the command center of the United Earth Defense Initiative, his jaw clenched as he watched the alien vessel position itself in geosynchronous orbit. Around him, holographic displays flickered with data streams, military readiness reports, and diplomatic channels all screaming for attention. "Sir, they're broadcasting on all frequencies," reported Lieutenant Aliana Rodriguez from her station, her fingers dancing across haptic interfaces. "Same message, hundreds of languages. They're giving us an ultimatum." David nodded grimly. "Put it through." The Council's message was simple, delivered in cold, mechanical tones. Earth was now under Galactic Council jurisdiction. Humanity would cease all military operations, surrender their nuclear arsenals, and prepare for integration. Resistance would be met with orbital bombardment. They had 72 hours to comply. "They think we're going to roll over," David said quietly, his eyes never leaving the massive ship on the screen. "They've studied us for maybe a few months, watched our news broadcasts, analyzed our technology. They think they understand us." Aliana turned in her chair, her dark eyes reflecting the glow of her monitors. "Do we fight?" David was silent for a moment, remembering his grandfather's stories about World War II. About ordinary people doing extraordinary things when pushed to the edge. "We do what humans have always done when someone tries to put a boot on our necks. We remind them why that's a bad idea." The first 48 hours were a flurry of preparation. The Council likely expected panic, chaos, the collapse of civilization. Instead, they watched with growing confusion as Earth's nations long divided by politics and history unified. With terrifying efficiency, Aliana coordinated the technical response from UEDI headquarters. "They're scanning us constantly," she reported, tracking the energy signatures, trying to map our military installations, communication hubs, population centers. "Let them look," David replied, a thin smile crossing his face. "Make sure they see exactly what we want them to see." What the Council saw were the obvious targets: missile silos in Montana, submarine bases, Air Force installations. What they didn't see were the 300 orbital kinetic platforms humanity had quietly launched over the past decade, disguised as commercial satellites and space debris. They didn't detect the quantum encrypted communication network or the distributed command structure that made humanity's military response impossible to decapitate with a single strike. Most critically, they didn't understand the one thing that made humanity unique in the galaxy: humanity's absolute refusal to accept subjugation. When the 72-hour deadline expired, Ambassador Zarketh expected compliance or, at worst, token resistance that could be crushed within hours. What he received was a transmission from Earth. David's face appeared on every screen throughout the Council warship. Behind him stood Aliana and representatives from every nation on Earth. "Ambassador Zarketh," David began, his voice carrying the weight of 8 billion souls. "You've made a fundamental miscalculation. You see us as primitive because we haven't spread across the stars. You see us as weak because we fight among ourselves. But you don't understand what those fights have taught us." He leaned forward, and there was fire in his eyes. "Every conflict, every war, every struggle in our history has been a crucible. We learned to build better, to fight smarter, to never, ever give up. You've conquered 47 species. We've conquered ourselves 1,000 times over and kept getting back up." Zarketh's expression shifted from arrogance to something approaching concern. "You have 10 minutes to withdraw from Earth's orbit," David continued. "After that, we will consider your presence an act of war. And Ambassador, we've been preparing for war since we first looked up at the stars and wondered what was out there. This is our home, and we will defend it." The transmission ended. Zarketh laughed, though it sounded hollow even to his own ears. "Activate weapons systems. Target their capital cities. They need to learn." His order was cut short by alarms shrieking throughout the ship. Aliana's fingers had just activated the kinetic platforms. 300 tungsten rods, each weighing several tons, began their descent from orbit not toward the Council ship, but around it, creating a cage of supersonic projectiles that would intercept any weapon. The ship tried to fire at Earth, simultaneously. Every radio telescope, every communication array, every broadcast station on Earth transmitted on the same frequency that, thanks to Aliana's analysis, perfectly disrupted the Council ship's shield harmonics. The shields flickered and failed. Impossible, Zarkith whispered. They're coordinating billions of devices simultaneously. The processing power alone, David's voice came through again. 5 minutes, Ambassador. We build our entire civilization on free will and cooperation. When we choose to work together, there's nothing in this galaxy that can stop us. For the first time in his 200-year career, Ambassador Zarkith retreated. The Council ship's engines flared to life, and it vanished into hyperspace, leaving Earth's orbit empty once more. In the command center, Aliana exhaled slowly. They'll be back. Maybe not soon, but they'll be back. David nodded, watching the stars through the window. Then we'll be ready. We'll be in their council chambers, at their table, making sure they understand one fundamental truth. Humanity doesn't kneel. Not to kings, not to tyrants, and definitely not to some galactic bureaucracy that thinks age equals wisdom. He turned to face his team, seeing the reflection of humanity's indomitable spirit in every face. Get me the science division. If we're going to join the galactic community, we're doing it on our terms. It's time we showed the galaxy what humans are really capable of, above Earth. The stars shone a little brighter, as if the universe itself was taking notice. Humanity had passed its first test. There would be others. But as long as there were people like David and Aliana, people who refused to surrender their freedom, humanity would face them standing tall. The age of human expansion into the cosmos had begun, not with permission, but with defiance. And the galaxy would never be the same.